prejudice, discrimination, hate crimes. These are things that Muslims face every day. The United States is home to millions of Muslims and thousands reside here in Fresno. Yet Muslims are still made out to be dangerous foreigners or threats to American society. This hatred is not a new phenomenon. Throughout history, Americans have targeted minorities to discriminate against, from placing Japanese Americans in internment camps to forcing African Americans into slavery. America's first encounter with Islam was during the time of the Barbary Wars in 1801, which was fought between American and Islamic North African naval forces. These wars established the idea that Muslim values and lifestyles were not compatible with American culture. It wasn't until a national tragedy that occurred just 2 decades ago that Islamophobia began to significantly increase. On September 11, 2001, 2 twin towers in New York were hit by planes hijacked by members of an Islamic extremist group named Al-Qaeda. Thousands have been injured or killed, making it one of the most tragic events in American history. The damage incurred from 9/11 also gave way to discrimination against Muslims.
Immediately we felt the impact of 9/11, where we have to step up and explain for the first time our faith.
Yes, after 9/11, we've seen a very significant increase in Islamophobia within our nation, unfortunately. Hate crimes targeting members of the Muslim community or Muslim community centers.
I was 16, I think, when 9/11 happened. I was a junior in high school. Not only has the number of hate crimes and the negativity against Muslim communities increased since then, I think Muslims have had to deal with a lot of personal fear of being attacked or being harassed.
Prejudice against Muslims has been unwavering and can be very damaging. This prejudice has seeped into everyday actions.
Also, we have encountered a lot of bullying against Muslims or those who look like Muslims. I've seen a lot of parents or students themselves, they come to my office and cry because of the way they are treated at the schools.
Is this justified fear or socially acceptable racism? Prejudice has a negative impact on its target, the Islamic people. This prejudice may seem justified, even wise. There are examples of the Muslim religion being the excuse for extreme violence. For example, the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, or ISIS, is an Islamic terrorist group in the Middle East that is infamous for brutal violence and wishes to implement Sharia law, which regulates public and private behavior and beliefs. ISIS is well known for its violent acts of terrorism and oppression of its citizens.
Groups like ISIS or Al-Qaeda or the Taliban have had a great impact on the way that non-Muslims view our faith. Unfortunately, when you have people that claim a faith but then do terrible acts in its name, it definitely has a tarnishing effect on the rest of the faiths.
When people hear negative things about the Islamic religion, their perception of it gets skewed towards believing it to be violent and oppressive. This has even led to hate crimes against Muslim Americans, which can be fatal.
An extremist tried to plant a bomb in my office in Los Angeles. That's the most direct way and a threat to my safety that I ever had to deal with.
The hatred against Muslims is also fueled by the current political climate in America.
The election of the current president has awakened the giant within America, which has been hateful of Islam and Muslims.
Understanding and accepting the differences between cultures is vital to decreasing not only Islamophobia, but xenophobia in general.
So I think people need to build relationships with people who are different from them. When we only talk to people who are of our same background or our same, political ideology or our same, theological ideology, we stay very narrow-minded in what we think the world is like or what communities are like.
If you think that my only value is that, number one, I can help you find a terrorist that I don't know, or secondly, that the only value I have to this community is helping you fight a war, then that's Islamophobia as well. When you look at me wrong, or when you say bad things about Muslims on the side, or you make jokes, or when a woman walks by in a scarf and you make a face or a comment, or when you just keep Muslims out, when Muslims are not part of the process. These are all Islamophobia at different levels.
Whenever a hateful event happened, we need to come together and condemn it, not to feed it, not to ignore it. Today is against the Muslim community, tomorrow is against another community.
Especially in times of political turmoil, Americans must choose kindness over hate towards Muslims if they wish to truly witness a more perfect union.